Let's get started. So we are today doing Daf Lamed Tet Amud Aleph. So we're still in the middle of kind of the same discussion. So just to recap very, very briefly, we had a Mishnah. The Mishnah spoke about a Shomeret Yavam who has assets. Who has a claim to them? Does she have full rights? Can she sell them? So the Mishnah said, on the one hand, she's allowed to sell them, and the Yavam has zero rights. On the other hand, if she dies, the Yavam has some rights. He's cholek. He splits it with her Yorshim, her father. So how do those two things work? So we had 4 different explanations in the Gemara. First, Ula said that when she's allowed to sell them, she's a Safek Nisua, she fell to Yibum from, Safek Arusa, she fell to Yibum from Erusin. And when the husband has a right, she's a Safek Nisua, she fell to Yibum from Nisuin, so the husband has more of a right. Rava explained that the case where she's allowed to sell them, that's talking about when she's alive and she's a Vadai Muhzak on them. Whereas the case where the husband has more of a claim, that's when she dies and it's not a Vadai versus a Safek, it's a Safek versus a Safek. Abaye, he learned that the Reisha, the case where she's allowed to sell it, that's talking about that the items fell to her for Yerusha after her husband died, and the case where the Yavam gets a portion is when the items fell to her for Yerusha, or they fell to her while she was married to her husband. Rava says that we're talking about before Ma'amar and after Ma'amar. Before Ma'amar, if the items fell to her before Ma'amar, then she's allowed to sell them, and the husband doesn't have any claim on them. The Yavam, doesn't have any claim on them. But if they fell after Ma'amar, then he has somewhat of a claim on them, based off of the idea that Beit Shammai holds that Ma'amar creates more of a erusin. Okay, so we're by where it says Itmar on Lamed Tet. So Itmar Mishmei de Rabbi Elazar Kavate de Rava. So Rabbi Elazar, they say in the name of Rabbi Elazar like Rava's understanding. Itmar Mishmei de Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina Kavate de Abaye. And they say in the name of Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina like Abaye. So the Gemara says,
what's the first word on the page?
First word on the line right now is Yossi. So,
Up?
yeah, it's maybe like 10, 12 lines down, something like that. This is Yossi.
Oh yeah, Yossi.
So, Yossi Rabbi Chanina Kavati Dabai. So we're saying Rabbi Elazar says like Rava, and Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina says like Abaye.
Mm-hmm.
So the Gemara says, Umi Amar Rabbi Elazar Hachi. Well, Rabbi Elazar says like Rava. Now, in order to say like Rava, you have to understand that Beit Shammai holds that Ma'amar really makes her like a Arusa. But the problem is Rabbi Elazar doesn't say that. Amar Rabbi Elazar.
Ma'amar is the Khatan. Yeah.
Ma'amar has nothing to do with the Katan. You're thinking of Miyun. Miyun is a Katana who... Ma'amar is the Kiddushin of the Yavam to the Yevama. If the Yavam goes to the Yevama and does Kiddushin, that's called Ma'amar. Now,
Ma'amar, she could cancel her later on without any gift.
No. Well, okay, this is what we're a little bit going to touch on now. So, the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Ma'amar lebeit Shammai ena kona ella lidchot betzara bilvat. Rabbi Elazar seems to hold that Beit Shammai doesn't agree that Ma'amar is a full Kiddushin. Ma'amar just makes it that the tzara doesn't require anything, but it doesn't make it that it's a full Kiddushin. So the Gemara says, okay, you're right, Epoch. So we'll have to flip it around. So Rabbi Elazar is the one that says like Abaye, and Rabbi Yossi is the one that says, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina is the one that says like Rava. Or Boker Tov. Or the Gemara says, really, you don't need to flip around the names, and we could fit Rabbi Elazar with this. Lo tebuch. Amar lecha Rabbi Elazar ki amri ana. When do I say that Ma'amar is not Koneh according to Beit Shammai? What do I mean by that? Delo sagila beget. I mean, ma'amar is not koneh, and a get wouldn't be enough. Ela debai nami chalitza. She needs chalitza as well. So according to this, if he does ma'amar, she requires a get plus chalitza. A get for the ma'amar, for the quasi kiddushin over here, and chalitza because there's still a zika. But lachlok benechasim delo kani mi'amri. Did I ever say that the husband doesn't have any rights to her nechasim? The husband does have rights to her nechasim. Okay. So Amar Rav Papa, first one online is Amar Rav Papa, diuk et matnitin kavate da Abaye. That the diuk of our Mishnah is like Abaye. Our Mishnah is meduyak like Abaye. That the Abaye said that it depends when the items fell to her. If the item fell to her after her husband died, then the Yavam has zero claim on it. But if the items fell to her while she was with her original husband and then he died, then the Yavam has a claim on it. Right? That was Abaye. So there's a Mishnah. Our Mishnah is meduyak like Abaye. V'afagav dekashya meta. Even though there's a question from meta, which the Gemara is going to explain exactly what this means in the next line. Tektani nechasim hanichnesin v'yotziin ima. It says nechasim, her items that are nichnesin v'yotziin ima, that enter the marriage and exit the marriage with her. So my nichnesin u'may yotziin. What does it mean that they enter and they leave the marriage? Lav nichnesin l'reshut haba'al. It means they enter the marriage, meaning they enter the reshut of the husband when she gets married, right? Ve'yotziim mireshut haba'al l'reshut av, and they exit the reshut of the husband when the husband dies or divorces her. So you see that it's something that was hers, quote unquote, while she was married to the husband. We're not talking about something that fell to her after her husband died. So that's miduyak like Abaye. V'afagav dekashya meta. Even though there's a question from meta, meaning adamiflegu v'alachar mita liflegu b'chayei u'perot v'tulomidi. Okay, so what's the question from meta? So we had two cases in the Mishnah. One case was the lady was shomeret yavam, and some items fell to her, and we said that she is allowed to sell it, and the yavam cannot stop her. He has no claim on those items. But we said that if she dies, her items, the yavam does have a claim on her items. So if the difference
from his wife, from his yavam,
he has a claim on those items. He splits with the father.
Uh-huh.
So that was according to Beit Shammai. So the question is, Abaye, if you're telling me the difference is in the first case we're talking about items that fell to her after her husband died, and in the second case where the Yavam has a claim, we're talking about items that were in her possession that came to her when the husband was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to make it a case where she died and they're fighting over her Yerusha.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it a case where she's still alive. They're fighting over the product that's being yielded by the field, the perot, the rent money, the field, the fruits of the field, the whatever's being yielded by what she owns. That they could have the same. That would be the same halacha. So we don't need to, even though we don't need to say a case where she died. I mean, that's a little bit of a question, but still it says the Gemara v'tu lomidi. That's all we have to say about this topic. So to the next line of the Mishnah. So kansa harehi. We said that if the man does yibum to the woman, so harehi keishtu l'chol davar. She's considered his wife 100%. So what does that mean? So says the Gemara lemay hilchata. With regard to what halacha are you teaching me this? Like if he marries her, she's considered his wife completely. If he does yibum. So Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, lomar shemegarasha begetu machazira. So Rabbi Yossi says, you know what it means to tell me when the Mishnah says if a guy does yibum, she's like his wife completely? It means that now if he wants to divorce her, he gives a get. Meaning there's no chalitza. He gives a get. And also, he's allowed to take her back afterwards. He's allowed, unless he's a Kohen, he's allowed to divorce her and remarry her. So, Megarsha beget pshita. The Gemara says, well, obviously, if he did yibum and he wants to divorce her, he gives her a get. That's pretty obvious. So the Gemara says, no, not necessarily. Salkada atacha mina, hoel uchtiv ulkachta lo leisha v'ibema, amara chamana. ועדיין יבומי הראשון עליה בחליצה אין בגט לו. I would have thought, since the Torah says, ulkacha lo leisha v'yibema, the Torah says, in describing how yibum is done, the Torah says you're going to take her as a wife and yibema, and do yibum. So it sounds like even after you take her as a wife, she's still called a Yevamah. The Yibum, Yevamah name is still on her. So I would have thought that that would indicate that a get is not enough to release her. She also requires some form of chalitza. Therefore, the Mishnah is coming to teach me that no. After he does the Yibum, she's considered his wife 100%. And if he wants to, if they want to go their separate ways, a get is enough. She doesn't require chalitza. So, I would have thought she requires chalitza and not a get. Kamash malan, that no. Machzira. So we said also he's allowed to remarry her after he divorces her. He does yibum to a lady. He divorces her and he decides, you know what, I want to remarry her. That's allowed. So the Gemara says pshita. That's obvious. Why would I have thought otherwise? So the Gemara says no. Salkat da'atach amina mitzvah derami arachamana lea avda. I would have thought that, well, he did the mitzvah that the Torah said. The Torah gave him a heter of yibum. He did it. He did the mitzvah. Now, once he decided to divorce her, she becomes an erva again. She's a eshedach, meaning the heter lasted for when he did the mitzvah of yibum. Now that he decided he doesn't want to continue, so that's it. She reverts back to being asura, just like any other eshet ach. Any other one of his brother's wives is asura. If, let's say, the brother had children and he died, or the brother divorced his wife, or any of those cases, she's asura. So over here, that there was a heter of yibum, but he decided to divorce her afterwards, maybe she should revert to being asura. Kamash malan. Yeah, we don't say that. So the Gemara says, ve'ema hachanami. Why don't we say it here too? Why don't we say that? Why don't we say that she requires chalitza, and that once he divorces her, he's not allowed to remarry her. So Amar Kra ulkacha lo leisha. So the Gemara says at the end of the day, the pasuk says ulkacha lo leisha. It says that he takes her as a wife when he does yibum. So kevan shel kacha, once he takes her to do the yibum, harei hi keishto lechol davar. She becomes just like any other wife. And if he wants a divorce, he gives her a get, no more chalitza. And if he wants to take her back afterwards, he can take her back afterwards. Also, she doesn't. If he divorces her and he wants to take, not a kohen, a regular Yisrael, meaning she doesn't become eshet ach again when he divorces her. Okay, we said uvilvat shetehei ktuvata. So we said that her ktuba though comes from the possessions of her original husband. Meaning the Yavam is not responsible to pay out of pocket for her Ketubah. The Ketubah comes from the possessions of her first husband. So the Gemara says, Mai ta'ama, what's the reason? How come the Yavam doesn't have to pay for her Ketubah? Let's say he decides to divorce her. How come he doesn't, from his own possessions out of pocket, have to pay? They reserve a land or a portion or whatever of the possessions of the original husband for her Ketubah. But Yavam doesn't have to pay out of his own possession. So, my ta'ama, how come? So, Isha hiknu lo mina shamayim. Because he didn't choose this girl on his own. They, from Shamayim, gave it to him. So, meaning, the whole point of Ketuvah is, to give her security. The guy, he chose this girl, he wanted to marry this girl, he offered her Ketuvah. This guy didn't, what came from Shamayim. He didn't offer her anything. He didn't necessarily pursue this girl. Therefore, it's not on him to pay the ketubah from his own possessions. But if there are no possessions left from the first guy, so takinu la misheni. Chachamim instituted that if there's really nothing left from the possessions of the first husband, so then the second one has to provide a ketuvah for her. So that it shouldn't be light in his eyes that he should divorce her, right? We don't want him, if there's a ketubah, that's a bit of a deterrent for divorce, because he knows, okay, if I divorce her, I have to pay this ketubah amount, which, who knows what was written in the ketubah, but the minimum is, the basic ikar ketubah is matayim, so he would have to pay that. So that's a bit of a deterrent not to divorce her. So Chachamim, in order to protect her and give her that little bit of a cushion, so they instituted that he should give a ketubah even though he's not the one that pursued her, and it was Isha Mina Shamayim, in the event that the first husband doesn't have anything left over to designate for her ketubah. Okay, next Mishnah. Mitzvah begadol is a bit of a lighter, easier topic now. Yeah. Mitzvah begadol leyavim. So it's a mitzvah for the oldest brother to do yibum. Lo ratza, let's say he doesn't want. Mahalachin al kol ha'achin. Then they go to the rest of the brothers. Lo ratzu, now let's say those brothers don't want. So chozrin etzel gadol. They go back to the gadol. Ve'omrim, huh?
You have to give Talisa also.
So ve'omrim lo alecha mitzvah. They tell him, listen, the mitzvah is on you. O chalot o yibim. Either do chalitza or yibum. Now, just there's two ways to learn this line. We're gonna see in the Gemara exactly. There's two ways to learn this line. When they go to the gadol, okay, we'll see in the Gemara. So, tala bekatan. Let's say the brother says, I have a brother who's he's becoming bar mitzvah soon. Maybe he's gonna want to do yibum. Let's wait for him. Wait another few months, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. Ad sheigdal. Wait for him until he gets older. Oh, begadol ad sheyavo midinat hayam. Or he says, no, I have an older brother who's he's out of town. Let's wait for him to return from his journey. Oh, cheresh, or shoteh. Or he says, I have a brother that's a cheresh, a brother that's a shoteh. So ain't shomin lo. We don't listen to him. We don't make her wait for the kid to become bar mitzvah or for the guy to come back, and we don't make her go with a cheresh or a shoteh.
Because he tried to escape from it.
Well, ella omrim lo alecha mitzvah o chalot oyevim. We say, listen, right now your older brother's not here. Right now he's not bar mitzvah. Right now cheresh shoteh. We don't deal with that. Your mitzvah is on you. Either you got to do yibum or you got to do chalitza. Take it or take it. I mean, you can't just do nothing. You have to either do yibum. Take her or leave her. Yeah. Okay. So says the Gemara, Itmar, biat katan v'chalitzat gadol. What's preferable? Is it preferable to have a younger brother do yibum or an older brother do chalitza? Meaning, do we say there's a mitzvah for the oldest brother, and whether he does yibum or chalitza, it's better than any of the younger brothers doing anything? Even it's better for the older brother to do chalitza than for the younger brother to do yibum? Or do we say, no, it's better for yibum to be done. Even if it's not the older brother, it's better for the younger brother to do yibum than the older brother. That's the question here. Is it better for the older brother to do something, or is it better for yibum to happen? Meaning, is it better for obviously the best is the oldest brother does yibum. But now, let's say the older brother doesn't want to do yibum, he wants to do chalitza. A younger brother wants to do yibum. So do we say it's better for the older one to do the chalitza or the younger one to do the yibum?
It's not what the Gemara is talking about.
What do you mean?
It's the lashon is biat katan. They're talking about is the bia of a katan better, or the chalitza of a younger brother.
So bia means
bia is yibum. Yibum is bia. We're gonna see later on. There's no.
If he doesn't get yibum, he cannot get the bia.
Right, that is how yibum happens. The bia is how yibum happens. There's no need necessarily mid'oraita for any type of kiddushin or chuppah or anything like that.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so pligi bar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. So machlok between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Chad amar biat katan adifa. One of them says that it's better for the younger brother to do yibum than it is for the older brother to do chalitza. V'chad amar chalitzat gadol adifa.
No.
And the other one says that the chalitza of the older brother is preferable. Now the Gemara is going to explain the svara of each one. Ma damar biat katan adifa. The one that says bia of the younger brother is better. The hamitzvah beyibum. He holds that the main mitzvah is yibum. Chalitza is only if yibum is not going to happen, so then you revert to chalitza. Chalitza is always option 2. Chalitza is option 2. But option number 1 is yibum. Uman da'amar chalitzat gadol adifa, bimkom gadol biat katan lav klumhi. The other opinion that says that it's preferable for the older brother to do chalitza than for the younger brothers to do yibum, he says the bia of the younger brother is meaningless when it comes to the older brother. Meaning, the mitzvah is on the older brother. The older brother, whether he does yibum or chalitza, that's older brother gets the rights. He's option number one. Anything that any of the other brothers do is not comparable to the oldest brother. Option number one is the oldest brother does yibum. Option number two is the oldest brother does chalitza. But the mitzvah is for the oldest brother. Other brothers, that's only if the oldest brother wants to do absolutely nothing.
Doesn't make sense.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Because all the yivum, what's the yivum? Hashem came and give the yivum to the brother because he wants to have generation for his that the brother that didn't have it, the children, they could bring it for him. Yeah.
Okay.
So which one is better? The other brother get married, get yivum, and have a baby for his brother or Khalisa. That means his brother goes to waste.
Right. But at the end of the meaning, everyone's agreeing that the best option is for the oldest brother to do yibum. The question is when the Torah says
Khalisa, and his brother comes and says, "Don't do Khalisa. I'm gonna do yibum."
Right. So that's a simple understanding. You're right. Simply looking at it, that makes sense. But let's try to understand the other opinion. The Torah says that
Torah came for the yivum.
Yevamot yavo aleh. Meaning the Torah is talking. He's understanding the Torah is talking about in the context of the oldest brother. The mitzvah is really for the oldest brother. So when the Torah talks about yibum, the mitzvah is for the oldest brother, and chalitza also is right for the oldest brother. Meaning it's his mitzvah. He chooses yibum or chalitza. Obviously, we even according to this, maybe we prefer for him to do yibum. That we're going to talk about tomorrow. What's preferable, yibum or chalitza? But either way, according to this opinion, we prefer the oldest brother to do yibum. But if he wants to do chalitza, that's only if the oldest brother says, "I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do yibum or chalitza." That's how he's going to learn the Mishnah. Then we go to the younger brothers. Remember I said there's two ways to learn the Mishnah, so right. That's what we're going to come up to now. So the Gemara says, Tenan, lo ratza machzirin al kol ha'achin. So we said in the Mishnah, you go out to the oldest brother first. Let's say the oldest brother doesn't want, so then you go to the other brothers. So my love lo ratza liyabem. Aren't we talking about a case where the older brother doesn't want to do yibum ela lachlot, he wants to do chalitza. So then you go to the younger brothers. So shma mina biat katan adifa. It sounds like from our Mishnah that it's preferable for the younger brother to do yibum, because we said in our Mishnah you go to the oldest brother. If he says no, I'm not interested, then you go to the younger brothers. So it sounds like the older brother is saying, I'm not interested in yibum, I'll do chalitza. Then we go to the next brothers to do yibum. It sounds like the younger brother's yibum is preferable more than the older brother's chalitza. So the Gemara says, lo ratza lachlot lo yabem. We're talking about, the Gemara says, no. You could explain that the Mishnah is saying that the oldest brother says, I don't want to do yibum or chalitza, nothing. The kavata gabe ha'achin lo ratzu lo lachlot lo yabem. And then by the brothers also, they're saying, when they say no, and we go back to the oldest brother, we're talking about all the brothers want to do nothing. Why are we going, if the thing is that now everybody says, no, I don't want to do anything, so now we have to force somebody to do chalitza. So why do we go back to the oldest brother to force him to do chalitza? Let anybody do chalitza.
If nobody wants it.
So the Gemara says, no. Kevan the mitzvah le'dide ramya le'dide kaifina. And since the mitzvah is really mainly on the oldest brother, so we go back to him to force him. But we're coming out that there's two ways to learn the Mishnah. Either they go to the first brother and he says, I'm not interested in yibum, but I'll do chalitza. Then they go to the younger brothers because they prefer yibum. Or the first brother says, no, I'm interested in nothing. Then they go to the younger brothers because the first brother is interested in nothing. Okay, so that could fit with both opinions. Okay, Tanan. Tala bekatan ad sheyagdil, ein shom'in lo. We said in the Mishnah that if the oldest brother says, listen, I'll wait for my younger brother until he gets older, so we said we don't listen to him. Yeah, we don't listen to him. We force him. So the Gemara says, Ibiad katan adifa amayin shom'in lo. if it's better for Yibum to happen, so maybe we should listen to him. We should wait 5 months for the kid to get bar mitzvah, and then he'll do the Yibum if he's interested. Why don't we wait if Bia is better, if Yibum is better, even if it's a younger brother? So the Gemara says, Nintar Dilma Gadil Miyabim. We should wait, and maybe the younger brother will wanna do Yibum. So the Gemara says, "Well, Tamech uv Gadol." So the Gemara says, okay, well, what about the other case? You have an older brother who's out of town. We don't listen. Why don't we listen? Maybe he's going to come and do Yibum. They changed the word v'chalitz here to miyabim. Maybe he's going to come and do Yibum. Ella kol shihuye mitzvah lo mashinan. Any waiting for a mitzvah we don't do. We don't wait for the mitzvah. We don't push it off. Yeah, kol shihuye mitzvah lo mashinan. We don't push off the mitzvah. Okay, so I guess we'll stop here. The next thing is a little bit of a different version of the machloket that takes us through the next amud. So we'll stop here.
So is anybody else